Hello people and welcome to the People Building newsletter slash podcast slash article, which can be found on the People Building website. If you go to resources and then to the articles page, the article I'm sharing with you today is called Lack of Rapport, which was also previously published in the People Building newsletter and, of course, within the People Building podcast that can be found in the top 10 of the iTunes Alternative Health download chart on iTunes. So this is lack of rapport. Rapport comes and goes. There's a misunderstanding that once you have it, that's it. No further rapport building is required and one can simply forget about it. Wrong. Rapport comes and goes. Its strength increases and decreases dependent on the state of the person you're communicating with. Your state with the topic of the conversation, with the environment, and many other forgotten factors. Many people believe that the simple skill of matching and mirroring is enough, that if the other party is replying politely, that in itself is rapport, but this is simply not the case. Rapport is nothing without sensory acuity, the ability to notice the subtle psychological shifts and internal and external indicators that tell you you've moved someone from disconnected to you to connected to you, or from connected to you to even more connected to you. Last year, my company was participating in an exhibition where there were many personal development and NLP type people attending. As I was in charge of the exhibition stand, it was part of my job to be friendly and to interact with the people that were there in order to help them develop an interest in our products and services. One particular customer that approached me introduced himself as a hypnotherapist. Being a hypnotherapist myself, I have a good understanding of the degree of rapport required to help someone help themselves to access a trance state. It's a significant amount of rapport. For example, I first need to listen to the client so that they feel they have been heard and that I've been respectful towards them. I don't then launch into my Paul McKenna voice. That would be very odd if I did. Instead, I have to start at the same pace of where the client is currently at and take them on a journey to a relaxed state. I'm sure I've used the example elsewhere, but to put it simply, you can't be at the top of the relaxation mountain calling down to your client who's currently at the bottom and say, "Come on up here, it's great." They can't get there on their own. They don't know the way. You have to leave the mountain, go to where they are, show them the way up, should they like to follow you. So going back to the exhibition, this man approached me and said he was a hypnotherapist, to which I replied something like, "Cool." My new hypnotherapist friend took this and perhaps other imagined visual clues from me as a green for go signal that we had achieved rapport with each other and began to say things like, and the amazing thing about hypnosis is you can be talking or listening whilst in a trance and not even know you know. All said in a slow and sleepy voice. Now, I may well have been in a trance after 3 days in an exhibition hall with no natural daylight, but it certainly wasn't his trance that I was in. So in a brisk and upbeat voice, completely mismatching what he'd been using on me, I said something along the lines of, "Great, and I hear you've been practicing your hypnotherapist voice. Well done, sounds great." To which he said, in his slow and sleepy voice, "Yes. And you can hear my voice. And wherever you go." Fearing the sentence was about to end with, "My voice will go with you," I rudely interrupted once again and said, "Are you trying to hypnotise me? Only I'm a bit busy running an exhibition stand right now." Of course, he gave it another stab, saying something about me already being hypnotised by him, at which point I reached out my hand and said, "Thank you for visiting our stand. Enjoy the rest of the event." I eventually managed to get my hand out of his grasp and successfully hid from him each time he passed our stand from that point onwards. Rapport should not be a one-way affair. In order to realise whether you've got it or not, the sensory acuity must be running and evaluating continuously in the background. You must achieve one, or ideally more, of the following indicators of rapport. 1. The other person experiences a colour change. They may glow as if a warmness towards you is activated in their system. 2. They say something that verifies that the rapport is there. They may be particularly agreeable, supportive, or say that they feel very connected to you. 3, you get an internal feeling. This for me is the strongest indicator. I can only describe it as a feeling of being at ease. 4, you are able to lead them, either from the state they are in to another one, or from a topic of conversation to a different one. So I do wonder what happens when overly keen hypnotherapists hoping to experiment with rapid inductions on unsuspecting members of the public who believe they have rapport with when really they have not got any. I don't suppose much can be achieved with unrequited rapport. So let's all make an effort to evaluate the feedback that we receive from others so we can establish whether the rapport we had was real or imagined.